Welcome back, K-drama fans! Today, we're diving into the full summary of Mr. Plankton, a drama that takes us on a poignant journey of self-discovery and healing. From heart-wrenching moments to unexpected bonds, this story of Hajo and Jamie is anything but ordinary. In the first episode of Mr. Plankton, we open with an intense moment: Hajo lying helplessly in the snow as Jamie rushes to him. Right from the start, we're thrown into a world of unexpected twists. Hajo, who runs a quirky errand service, is approached by a woman asking him to kidnap her from her own wedding. Despite his friend Ji-ho's protests, Hajo agrees, setting the stage for a thrilling chase. On the wedding day, Hajo crashes the ceremony, sweeping the bride away on his motorbike. But as they escape, Hajo's own painful memories surface, when he was abandoned by his parents, leading to a disastrous crash and a trip to the hospital. While recovering in the hospital, Hajo is hit with devastating news: he's inherited a rare, incurable brain disease and has only 3 months left to live. Meanwhile, Jamie, who thought she was pregnant, finds out she's experiencing early menopause, dashing her in-laws' hopes for an heir. This drives her into a desperate spiral, and a chance encounter with Hajo reveals their past relationship. Here, we discover that the two had been in a relationship for 3 years, only to break up when Jamie wanted children and Hajo did not. In a heated moment, they exchange hurtful words. Jamie curses Hajo, claiming he'll die a lonely death, while Hajo coldly retorts that she'll never be a mother. Feeling betrayed by life, Hajo decides to track down his biological father. As he prepares to leave, he ends up back at Jamie's wedding, sparking questions about his intentions and what lies ahead for both. To make things even more complicated, the gang boss doesn't believe his bride planned the escape on her own. He vows to find Hajo and make him pay for stealing his bride. Hajo tries to convince Jamie to leave with him, mentioning her about her menopause. But before she can respond, her husband suddenly appears, ending the episode on a tense cliffhanger. Here episode 1 ends. Episode 2 of Mr. Plankton dives deep into Hajo's past. We learn that he was cherished as a miracle baby, conceived after his father's cancer recovery. But everything changed when his parents discovered a shocking truth: Hajo wasn't his father's biological son due to a clinic mix-up. Rejected by both parents, Hajo eventually fled, scarred by their betrayal. Years later, he confronts the clinic, demanding to know his real father's identity. Hajo pressures the doctor into disclosing information about his biological father, who was a sperm donor. The scene shifts to Jamie's wedding, where Hajo shows up unexpectedly. Posing as her orphanage friend, he dodges her groom, Eo-hyung. But things escalate as Hajo kidnaps Jamie, leading to chaos and a minor accident. Back at the groom's house, suspicions are high. A family employee spotted Hajo taking Jamie, and Hyung's mother is furious. Meanwhile, a gangster pressures Hajo's partner, Ji-ho, to help track them down. Jamie tries to escape multiple times, but every attempt hilariously fails. She's bound by Hyung's loving gesture of gifting her wedding shoes, promising her that he'd always find her. The duo stops in an empty town to change clothes, where Jamie secretly sends her location to Hyung. But Hajo has his own agenda: he's on the lookout for clues about his real father. Over dinner, we catch a glimpse of Hajo's inner turmoil. Secretly, he collects DNA for a paternity test, hoping it'll bring him closer to the truth about his father. However, when Hajo realizes he's lost his wallet, he humbly asks the owner if they can stay the night. Meanwhile, Hyung checks his phone, listens to Jamie's voicemail, and immediately sets off in his car to find her. Late at night, Jamie tries to escape once more, but when she hears Hajo whisper "don't go" in his sleep, she's torn, and the episode ends on this tender, emotional note. Episode 3 of Mr. Plankton opens with a haunting flashback. Hajo dreams about his parents, who had abandoned him. He recalls a painful encounter where he had an accident with his former father, only to discover his parents had moved on and started a new family. Waking up from his dream, Hajo lightens the mood by comically tying Jamie up in the room. But things get serious when she tries to run away. Ha-jo catches her in time, and the awkwardness between them grows after her recent embarrassing confession. While Jamie is tied up, Ha-jo meets his shady contact to proceed with a paternity test. We learn he has a list of 5 potential men who could be his biological father. Interestingly, these men were pharmaceutical sales reps who donated sperm in exchange for deals with clinics. As tensions rise, we are taken back to the day Ha-jo met Jamie. It was the same day he confronted his former family. Drawn to her kindness, Ha-jo found Jamie at her daycare job the next day and asked her out, marking the start of their complex relationship. Meanwhile, Hyung is determined to find Jamie, plastering posters of her around town and even involving the police. At the same time, Ji-ho tracks Ha-jo through his phone, and the gangsters close in. At the restaurant, Ha-jo uncovers a family feud over inheritance and confronts the owner, who reveals he knew about Ha-jo's suspicions. However, the paternity test results confirm the owner isn't Ha-jo's father. As Ha-jo prepares to leave, Hyung and the police arrive, forcing Ha-jo to kidnap Jamie again. Chaos erupts as the police arrest the gangsters, and Hyung ends up accidentally tasering himself during the chase. The episode ends on a heavy note. Jamie blames Ha-jo for her troubles, revealing she couldn't have children even before her health worsened. She tells him that one of them must die for the other to survive. Heartbroken, Ha-jo agrees to her condition, asking her to stay by his side until the end. That's all for episode 3 of Mr. Plankton. Episode 4 of Mr. Plankton opens with a heartfelt flashback. Hyung has been kneeling outside for 2 days, begging his family for permission to marry Jamie. But when Jamie arrives, things take a dramatic turn. To protect Hyung, she claims they're expecting a baby, forcing his family to agree to their union. The story jumps back to the present, where both Hyung and Ha-jo are unconscious. Jamie takes the opportunity to hide Ha-jo, apologizing to Hyung. However, her guilt about potentially ending Hyung's 500-year-old family legacy begins to weigh on her. Ha-jo convinces Jamie to join him on a journey to find his biological father. They board a train to Busan, embarking on a path filled with secrets and revelations. Meanwhile, Hyung, fueled by betrayal, discovers through John that Jamie has been with Ha-jo all along. Hyung's determination to find her only grows as he tracks them down through a network of CCTVs. As if things couldn't get more chaotic, Ji-ho learns of Ha-jo's location. With his gangster crew in tow, they set out to capture him. The duo reaches a mountainous area, meeting the second man on Ha-jo's list of potential fathers. The man and Jamie share a heartfelt moment as she opens up about her struggles, while Ha-jo submits another sample for a paternity test. As Jamie breaks down, Ha-jo consoles her despite silently suffering from a mysterious illness he hasn't disclosed. Their bond grows stronger, even amidst the chaos surrounding them. The episode ends on a tense note, with multiple threats looming. Episode 5 takes us into Jamie's heartbreaking past, where her dreams of finding a family and becoming a mother are shattered. First, Ha-jo refuses to have children, and later, she faces a devastating medical diagnosis. In the present, Ha-jo wakes up searching for his medicine. A fatherly figure steps in, affectionately calling him his son. Together, they share a touching moment at the fish market, bringing rare warmth to Ha-jo's journey. As Jamie considers running away, Hyung contacts Ji-ho to clarify the situation. Jamie was kidnapped, not a runaway bride. This revelation puts the gangsters back on Ha-jo's trail. The next morning, the fatherly figure tells Jamie he considers Ha-jo his son, no matter the test results. But as Jamie picks vegetables in the forest, she crosses paths with the gangsters, narrowly escaping their grasp. Ha-jo and Jamie discover their trusted ally has stolen their money. With gangsters closing in, they flee the cabin just in time, leaving Hyung and the gangsters behind. Following clues from a calendar, they find the man at a gambling den. His true manipulative nature is revealed, and Ha-jo's emotions boil over. Jamie steps in, stopping him from taking drastic measures. In an emotional moment, Ha-jo tells Jamie to return home, no longer enjoying their journey. Jamie's outburst leads to a surprising kiss just as Hyung arrives, heartbroken. That's it for episode 5 of Mr. Plankton. Episode 6 opens with Hyung's backstory, showing how he met Jamie. Discontented with the women his mother introduced him to, Hyung instantly felt a connection with Jamie, a spirited woman who had just been kicked out of his mother's cooking class. Their whirlwind romance led to a proposal in just 2 months. In the present, Hyung finally reunites with Jamie, desperate to take her home. But their tender moment is interrupted as they hear Hajo being chased by gangsters. John steps in to save them, and the trio escapes on a boat into the unknown. They wake up stranded on a deserted island with no cell service. Jamie reveals her menopause to Hyung, easing his worries about her reasons for leaving. But while they're stuck, Hyung and Hajo engage in petty competitions, each vying for Jamie's attention. A flashback reveals that Hajo tried reasoning with the gangster boss about the woman who conned him. Despite this, the boss remains furious at Hajo for breaking his tooth during the earlier escape, fueling his revenge. While fishing, Hyung discovers that Hajo is Jamie's ex-boyfriend. The two men bicker relentlessly until Jamie steps in to scold them. Later, Hajo collapses, and Hyung uses acupuncture needles to save him. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Hajo asks to call Hyung, but Hyung rejects the gesture. As Hajo wanders alone, the gangster boss ambushes him. Hyung and Jamie rush to help, but tragedy strikes as Jamie is stabbed during the fight. Just then, the police arrive in the distance, leaving us on a nail-biting cliffhanger. That's all for episode 6 of Mr. Plankton. Episode 7 of Mr. Plankton opens with a flashback of Hajo and Jamie watching a gangster film. During this heartfelt moment, Jamie jokes that if she were dying, she wouldn't ask for a kiss, she'd curse instead. Fast forward to the present, and true to her words, that's exactly what she does, leaving Hajo in tears. After the chaos, Jamie is rushed to the hospital, and Hyung refuses to leave her side, even as his mother discovers the truth that Jamie hadn't been pregnant all along. Meanwhile, Hajo is overwhelmed with guilt and shock. At his friend Bong-seok's house, he clings to Jamie's shoe, which holds a deeper meaning. It represents everything they saved when no one else cared. We dive into Hajo and Bong-seok's backstory. After running away from home, Hajo was found scavenging for food until Bong-seok took him in and gave him a purpose, leading him to start his errand-running business. Back at Hyung's house, Jamie bravely confronts his mother, revealing her struggle with menopause. She decides to leave Hyung but pleads with his mother to be kinder to her son. In a quiet, heart-wrenching moment, Hyung leaves Jamie's shoe outside her door, shedding tears of heartbreak. The next day, Jamie leaves his house wearing those shoes, a symbol of her resolve. Jamie arrives at Hajo's place, catching him in an awkward moment with Bong-seok. As she approaches, it seems like she kisses him, but wait. She actually bites his nose, leaving everyone stunned and laughing. That's all for episode 7 of Mr. Plankton. Episode 8 of Mr. Plankton opens with a heartbreaking flashback. Hajo confesses to Bong-seok that people leave because they no longer care, not because of love. These words set the emotional tone for the episode. Back in the present, chaos unfolds as Jamie bites Hajo's nose in frustration. Despite the drama, Hajo leaves her alone in the street again, only to later regret his actions. Hajo confides in Bong-seok, admitting that sometimes people let go out of love. This realization mirrors Hyung's silent heartbreak as he lets Jamie leave his home. Amidst a sudden downpour, Hajo searches for Jamie and finds her at the errand house. In an emotional moment, he finally caves in, and the two share a heartfelt kiss, rekindling their love. Jamie reveals she found their couple rings hidden in Hajo's fish tank. In a touching flashback, we learn Hajo had promised to find her real birthday, a reminder of their enduring bond. Meanwhile, Hyung is left devastated by Jamie's departure, grappling with the void she left behind. Ji-ho introduces Hajo to his half-sister, who had requested help finding her brother. Through her story, Hajo gains a fresh perspective on the joy of simply being alive. As Hajo returns home, he collapses in front of Jae-mi and Bong-sook, just as they return from retrieving Bong-sook's stolen money. Meanwhile, Hyung is seen running away from home. Ji-ho tracks down Ha-jo's third biological father candidate, a company owner. When they visit Ha-jo's third biological father candidate, Ha-jo suddenly collapses in front of them, leaving everyone shaken. That's it for episode 8 of Mr. Plankton. Episode 9 of Mr. Plankton opens with a flashback where Jae-mi recalls being scammed by someone posing as her aunt. Fortunately, Ha-jo had stepped in and retrieved the money for her, showcasing his care and determination to protect her. Back in the present, Ha-jo is in the hospital. Bong-sook and Jae-mi finally discover his terminal illness. Determined to fulfill his wish, Jae-mi causes a scene at the company owner's office to collect a DNA sample for a paternity test, and she succeeds. While unconscious, Ha-jo dreams of talking to his sister. He reflects on how plankton, though small and aimless, sparkle in the sea and sustain life. As his dream fades, he experiences a cardiac arrest in reality. Jae-mi returns to find Ji-ho and Bong-sook in chaos after Ha-jo's near-death experience. Thankfully, the doctors save him just in time. Recalling Ha-jo's wish to die under the blue sky, Jae-mi tries to take him outside. But every taxi driver refuses, mistaking Ha-jo for a corpse. At the bus stop, Ha-jo finally regains consciousness, adding a bittersweet twist. Meanwhile, Hyung drifts through the city as his family desperately searches for him. His mother, filled with guilt and regret, opens up about how much Hyung means to her. An accidental call leads them to Hyung, who's wreaking havoc at a club. Jae-mi and Ha-jo visit a new candidate for Ha-jo's father, but instead, Ha-jo arranges for Jae-mi to meet her biological mother. As she learns her real birthday, Ha-jo silently steps away, fulfilling his promise to her. In a poignant moment, Ha-jo hallucinates Hyung, who appears as a comforting figure while he breaks down after leaving Jae-mi behind once again. That's it for episode 9 of Mr. Plankton. Episode 10 of Mr. Plankton begins with Jae-mi walking back, tears streaming down her face, as she curses Ha-jo for abandoning her. Her heartbreak is compounded when her mother remains silent, unwilling to confront the past. Meanwhile, Hyung's mother teams up with John to find Ji-ho and seeks Jae-mi's help in tracking down Hyung. Together, they wait for Jae-mi, who is sent Ha-jo's location by Ji-ho. Ha-jo confides in Hyung, sharing his painful childhood memories. From discovering he wasn't his father's biological son to witnessing his mother's tragic demise, Ha-jo's life unraveled when he wished for a sibling. This emotional moment highlights the heavy burden he's carried all these years. Jae-mi finally arrives at the location, where she finds Hyung's mother, Bong-sook, and Ji-ho waiting. They share their frustrations and comfort Jae-mi, who begins to heal as everyone acknowledges her mother's abandonment. Ha-jo and Hyung continue their journey, with Ha-jo advising Hyung to drift without a destination, embracing life without feeling lost. This journey cements their bond as they explore the world together. Ha-jo takes a brave step and visits his estranged father. In a touching reunion, they embrace, revealing that his father never stopped loving him. Seeing his childhood photos and achievements preserved, Ha-jo finds closure. Jae-mi picks up Ha-jo, and they embark on a journey together, savoring every moment. But in a bittersweet twist, Ha-jo collapses in the snow and passes away peacefully, with Jae-mi smiling through her tears to comfort him. As Ha-jo's journey ends, others begin anew. Hyung becomes a travel vlogger, sharing his adventures with the world. Bong-sook and Ji-ho create a new family bond, while Hyung's mother and John redefine what family means, cherishing human connections over blood ties. The finale of Mr. Plankton is an emotional roller coaster, beautifully wrapping up each character's arc. And that's the full summary of Mr. Plankton. What did you think of Ha-jo and Jae-mi's journey? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more K-drama recaps. See you next time.